Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and I have the honor to interview another fabulous author from our collaborated book, The Successful Woman's Mindset 21 Journeys to Success. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to jump in. I'm excited to talk about your topic. I'm so glad you're part of this book, and everyone will understand what I'm talking about once we talk about your chapter title. But for right now, I want to share that Crystal White is owner of the company Mindset Transformation Academy, and she is a mindset transformation strategist. So here we go. The first question I love to ask all the authors is, what is the phrase the successful woman's mindset mean to you?
Wow. Well, thank you again, Galit, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about my chapter in the book. So for me, I think you first must understand what success means to you, because success means something different for everybody. So it's not always about money or fame, position, or material things. So, success to me is it's all about your mindset and happiness and finding your passion and your purpose. Your mindset doesn't actually affect it affects how you see the world. So it shapes your responses and your actions. Even we don't realize it. Sometimes we're in a fixed mindset and we don't realize that we are. So I think to be successful, developing the right mindset is really crucial to everything that we do. So for me, it starts with imagining possibilities instead of focusing on those roadblocks. And once you are able to adjust and imagine possibilities and set the right mindset to obtain those goals, that's success to me.
Oh, we got to talk about this. Possibilities instead of focusing on the roadblocks. What a great visual for someone like me that's so visual. So, of course, the second I see roadblocks, I'm in my car and I can't go left. I can't go left, so I better go right. Wait, do I go straight? And it's stopping me, but I've got to still get where I want to go. And so I love that you said that. And then the second part of that, which is so important, is having that mindset to success. So let's talk a little bit about that for a little bit. If somebody said to you, Crystal, I understand that I need to be focusing on the way that I want to get there, how I want to get there, where I want to go, but these challenges keep showing up. What are they doing? Are they trying to tell me to stop? Should I just stop trying? What would you say?
I would say those challenges are not roadblocks. Those challenges are learning. It's a growing opportunity for you to overcome those challenges. So that's when you have to think outside the box, right? You have to think about all the ways that you can overcome those challenges. What are the tools and resources available for you, rather than having a limited mindset saying, oh, this is too hard, or this challenge is in my way and I can't do it. I think that having a successful mindset is believing in your capacity to achieve greatness. So you
Ooh,
have to believe that you can do it no matter what the roadblocks are. So
yes.
it takes you from having a limited belief to an empowering belief.
I love that, the capacity. And don't you believe that, and I know you already know this, but I want everyone to listen, that even with your limited capacity today, whatever you might know today, don't you believe that that can grow and be developed?
Of course, of course. I mean, it again, it goes back to that mindset. It's having that growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset where you want to stay where you are. But it all starts there with that mindset. You have to believe. If you don't believe in your abilities and your capabilities, if you don't believe that there's opportunity or that you have that drive, that greatness inside of you, you'll stay stuck. So I think that, we can achieve just about anything we want to achieve, but it starts with that right mindset.
Oh, yes. And I don't think we give it enough attention. I don't think we spend enough time developing it, working on it, growing it. And that's the challenge because we get comfortable. So I want to jump in because your chapter, in my opinion, even though it's a specific age group, I think anybody can learn from this. But I love that you set up this chapter because we really were able to, in this book, cover all stages of our life. So let's jump in real quick. Crystal's chapter title is The Third Act of Life, Reinventing yourself. I think it's actually reinventing after 60, right? Did I say it right?
You said it right. But,
Hmm.
after I wrote that chapter and I was thinking and I started talking to other women, you're absolutely right that it applies to all
Oh, it
women.
really
But I
does.
think especially the third act is talking about women in their 60s, but 50s too, and the world has changed and life expectancy has changed. And it's like we've added on another 30 or 35 years to our life, right? So
Yeah.
when I say 60s, we have another possibly 20, 30 years to go. And if you're 50, you might have, 30, 40 more years to go.
Yeah. I love, first of all, anybody listening or watching, you can still learn from this chapter, even if you're not in this age group. But Crystal specifically wanted to speak about this because there's such a need for this and for women that are waking up going, wait, I'm still so young. Age is just a number. And I feel like life is just getting started for me in such a neat way. So definitely read the chapter, but let's talk a little bit more about reinventing life after 60 and what you're really trying to accomplish in this chapter and why you wanted to write it.
Well, just as I was reaching my 60s and I had just moved here to Las Vegas, I experienced a dramatic life change, all within like 3 to 4 months of each other, right? So first, when I moved here, I was working from home, and it was okay with the corp company that I was working for. And like a year later, after moving here, they told me, you need to move back to Seattle, right? So just bought a home here, everything was going good. I didn't want to do that. And so I took a retirement. It was a voluntary retirement, but nevertheless, it was retirement, right? And I found in the job market that at my age, even though I had the skills, the abilities, and all that, saying you're retired, and even at the age of 60, it's not as easy as it was in your 30s and 40s to find work. So I decided, well, I'll just enjoy retirement and do my own thing, which was great. But then I experienced some health issues, and then I was knocked out by a divorce, same time, going through a divorce, health issues, and some financial setbacks, and the retirement, all within, like I said, 3 to 4 months ago. And that took a toll out of me. It really did. And I had to step back and think about my life and where I was as I was approaching 60. Was I happy? And as I did some self reflection and just going back and reviewing my life, I realized that I was not happy, hadn't been happy for decades. And I was simply going through the motions of what I thought life, the job, your spouse, your children, what was required of you. You were just doing those things, but I was not living in my passion. I wasn't doing the things that made me passionate. So, in other words, I wasn't thriving.
Yeah.
And then I thought at age 60, well, it's too late to start over. What do you do at 60, as starting over? So it was really overwhelming, and it was tough. It was difficult and devastating at some point to think about being alone now when you thought that your marriage was going to last for you're in your 60s. Who thinks of going through a divorce at 60,
Of
right?
course.
And so going through all of that, it really took a toll, but it also helped me to, like I said, self-reflect. And I started thinking about my life, and I was listening to a TED talk by
Mhm.
Jane Fonda.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that that talk changed my life.
Ooh,
So the talk was
you should.
about the third act.
Okay, so it's called The Third Act.
The third act. That's the
I
name of her
love that.
TED talk. It's on YouTube. It is so empowering, enlightening, and I think it works for all women. But she was specifically talking to women in their 50s and 60s that have already done the 2/3 of your life. You've done the career, you've done all these things, and you find yourself at this point in life, and what do you do? So she talked about that. She suggests that aging equals up. It's like a staircase instead of this. I used to say that once you pass 50, that you're on your way down. You're on the other side of life. You don't
Yeah.
have that many more years to go. But the way she explained it was, as you get older, it's leveling up. It's a staircase going up because now you have more wisdom. You should at that point know more about yourself. A lot of us don't, but this is still an opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And that, she encouraged women to see how we can live the last 3 decades of our life being successful and being happy. So, once I listened to her, it just changed, it pivoted, it changed my whole life, to where I was ready to thrive. And I found my voice.
Oh,
I found my voice after 60 years. I found my voice. And some would say to me, it's too late. You're 60, what are you going to do?
I think
But I
that's
thought,
society, Crystal. I think we live in a society where when you're 20, you're too young to be an entrepreneur and own your own business. What are you,
mhm,
crazy? You don't know anything. It works both ways. When we've known in history very successful 20-year-olds that started businesses that are billionaires today.
right.
But people said they're crazy. What do you know about starting a business? Then it's that 40-year-old woman that goes back to work after raising 3 children that's told, well, you've been out of the job force too long. And then it's that 60-year-old, it doesn't matter man or women, but we're talking about women today and our audience is women. Then you've got that 60-year-old woman that's told by society, you're too old to work, you're too old. And you know what? Screw all of that. Anybody
Amen. Right?
listening and watching,
Exactly.
I know Crystal personally. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for quite a few years. And she smacks down anything that society might be coming up with. So thank you, Jane Fonda.
Yes, right. And again, I encourage all women, all ages to just watch her video. She gives so many great life lessons. And like I said, it literally changed my life. It put me on the path to discovering myself
Yes, and
at
your
this late
chapter
age.
as well. I did not know you watched that. And when I read your chapter, it was so specific. And when I read it, obviously I'm not 60, I found such great golden nuggets in it that I think reinventing yourself is the key point in this chapter. The reason you gave it a perspective of after 60 was because you want to focus on that age group and you and yourself. I told Crystal, my people are not going to believe it. You don't even need to put that. They're gonna be like, why are you teaching people how to be after 60? Please, are you joking? So I'd love for you to share with everybody something fun or interesting that you want them to know about yourself before we wrap up.
Well, something that I didn't know about myself, I love to write. I just absolutely love to write. So I'm working on a book, actually two. I started two at the same time, and
Love.
I've been working on them for a year now. So now I'm finding I'm starting to narrow down and really focus on it. But I found that that's part of my voice. I just love putting my voice, my thoughts on paper and sharing them. So
Oh,
I want to do more of that. And I have another fact. I have 7 grandchildren.
yes.
And a lot of people don't believe that, but I have 7 grandchildren, and 5 of them are girls. And a lot of what I do is for them.
I
You
love
know, it's for them. That's my legacy. Those young girls, I want them to grow up to be strong, confident, vibrant, thriving women. And so, mostly everything that I do, I mean, of course, I care about all women, but care about people. But a lot of it that I do is for their legacy. So my 7 grandchildren in writing right now, those 2 of my passions.
Oh, I love that. There's nothing more beautiful than that. And yes, everything we're doing in this book is specifically related to women, but I can't tell you how many men I've had buy my mindset books for their daughters, for their wives, for their grandchildren. So if any men are watching and have found interest in this book, I'm going to tell you every woman should have this book because we've got 21 chapters, including myself. I'm an author as well in the book. 21 authors, 21 chapters, 21 different journeys, 21 lessons that can be taught. So you don't want to miss out. But thank you, Crystal, for sharing that.
You're
What I want to wrap
welcome.
up with is please let everybody know how they can get a hold of you and learn more about working with you.
Well, right now, like I said, I'm launching my coaching business, which will be launched probably the end of January, and you'll find it online, Mindset Transformation Academy. But in the meantime, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, other social media avenues. Just reach out to me, and if you want more information or want to know about the launch or anything, just send me a text, reach out, and I will respond.
And your launch will coincide with the launch of the podcast and the TV show, which is perfect. So everything will be up and running and ready. And Crystal's been doing this for years. This is just another avenue for her to share it with her clients. So this launch of the new business is what's happening. But this woman's been doing this for, I'm not going to share how many years, but you already shared it. That's okay. I can share it. I know what you did in the
I know it, right?
world. I know how many people you've managed. I know how many people you've worked with. So you're just now deciding to wrap it all up into a bow and say, look, guys, this is what I'm going to focus on. But you've been doing this for many, many.
I have.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being part of this book. I'm excited for everyone to read your chapter, the third act, Reinventing Life After 60. And anybody that's watching or listening, you can learn more about the book and purchase it at thesuccessfulwomensmindset.com, as well as on Amazon and any online book retailer. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. Thank you so much for listening and watching another episode of The Successful Woman's Mindset. See you next time.
Thank you, Galit.